Alright, hello everyone, welcome again to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. I hope you are doing well. So as you can see, we are going to talk about inversion. So inversion actually, as you can see, it is a grammar lesson, but what I'd like you to keep in mind is that this is an advanced grammar lesson. So it is devoted for, we can say, advanced learner or advanced student. Before we start talking about cases of inversion, let's try to see what do we mean by inversion. So when we talk about inversion, it comes from the verb to inverse, okay? To inverse. And generally speaking, we always inverse the subject and the verb. So this is something that I have already talked about. So we have in normal sentence, in English, we have subjects and verb and object. This is the order of a normal sentence in English: subject, verb, object. In inversion, we inverse the subject and the verb, the subject and the verb. So the verb comes here, subject here, and the object. So this is generally speaking what we mean by inversion. But if we want to be more technical or more specific, when we talk about inversion, is not inversing the subject and the verb, but inversing the subject and the auxiliary, the subject and the auxiliary of the verb, okay? So this is what we mean by inversion. So technically, what matters a lot in inversion is the auxiliary, okay? Is the auxiliary. This is what I'd like you to keep in mind, and not the verb, not the verb, or I mean the main verb in the sentence, okay? So generally speaking, again, when we talk about inversion, inversion is highly required in what we call the questions, in questions, okay? So this is number one, in questions. So a question is not a question unless if there is inversion, when there is inversion. So we cannot write a question like, for example, for instance, we can say what you like, for example, what you like, okay, what you like. This is not a correct question. This can be correct if it is spoken, for example, what you like. So this is something that is very simple. But this question, if it is to be considered a question, there should be an inversion. Inversion here between the subject and the verb. Not this verb, but the auxiliary in the sentence. So this one is in simple present. So the auxiliary verb is going to be the verb do. So we can say what here, what do you like? What do you like? All right, so here inversion of the auxiliary and the subject. There is inversion here, okay? There is inversion, the subject and the auxiliary, as I said. Now, this one is a correct answer. Sorry, a correct question, because here we have inversion. So a question, if it is to be considered as a question, there should be here what we call inversion, okay? So inversion is highly required in question or in questions in general. Now, questions are not the only cases of inversion, okay? But we have several cases in which inversion is highly required. Today, in this episode, maybe we are going to cover one case, and in the upcoming episodes, we are going to cover other essential cases. So the first one, and the most very essential one that I'd like you to keep in mind, is with some phrases or some words, I should say, like, for example, neither, nor, and so. Just remember these words. So we are going to see cases or examples in which we have to do inversion, or we have to inverse the subject and verb when it comes to such words. Now, the first one I'd like to keep in mind is that when we talk about so is always with positive. And nor, neither, both of them has something to do with negative. Negative. All right. However, all of them, neither, nor, and so, both of them, or all of them, I should say, we use them when it comes to inversion to talk about what we call agreement, or I can say same agreement, or the sameness. All right, just keep in mind these words, and we are going to explain that in deeper in examples. Agreement or sameness when we talk about neither, nor, and so. Just keep in mind a very essential one. So with positive sense, and neither nor negative. We start with the positive. Okay, let's start with positive. All right, positive. All right. Now, for instance, we can take conversations in short answers in conversations. For example, we can take a very simple conversation between A and B. So, for instance, A may say, for example, I like philosophy. This is an example. I like philosophy. Now, here B can either agree, and when I say agree or be the same, which means B may like philosophy too. Just remember, too. Okay? He may like philosophy too, or he may not like philosophy too. Now imagine, or let's suppose that B likes philosophy too. And here again, here there is what? There is the sameness and agreement between A and B. And therefore, A can answer with so, for example, and say, so do I. So do I. And if he says, so do I, it's as if he says, I like it. I like it too. I like it too, which means the same. There is agreement, okay? There is agreement. So do I. So as you can see here, we have inversion of do and I, do I. Why do we have do here? Very simply because the sentence is in present simple and the auxiliary verb of the present simple is do, okay? Is do. And so do I, or so do I, which means I like it too. So this is case number one, in which we have the agreement and sameness when it comes to short answer in conversations. This is number one. However, we can also use so with inversion when it comes to statement with two clauses, and it was always after positive. Remember? Positive clause. Let's take an example. We can say he likes philosophy. This is clause number one. And as you can see, this clause is what? Is positive. Or we can also say affirmative. Positive. Okay? So he likes philosophy and so, here we can use so do his friends. And so do his friends. Okay? His friends. And so do his friends. Here and we have another clause, number two, the second clause with so. And here we have inversion. Inversion of do. And do is the auxiliary of the verb because the sentence is in present simple. If the sentence is in the past simple, the auxiliary will be did. And the subject. So there is inversion of the auxiliary and the subject. Now here, what does it mean? What does it mean? He likes philosophy and so do his friends. So do his friends means that his friends like philosophy too. His friends like philosophy too. Okay, so this is case number two. So either in conversations, short answers like this one to show the same when A and B share the same thing or like or love the same thing. For example, this is only an example. Or number 2, in the second clause after positive clause, when there is again agreement or the sameness. Okay, so here, for example, his friends like philosophy too. Not only he, but also his friends. Okay. All right, so this is very essential thing to remember. This is for positive. Now let's move to negative. And when we talk about negative, here we are talking about either neither or nor. Neither or nor. So both of them have a negative sense. Okay, again, the same as so. We can use it in short dialogues or in short conversations with short answer. Okay, short answer again to show agreement and sameness. Okay, now here again we can take one short dialogue between A and B. For example, A may say, I have never. Look, this is negative. I have never been to London. For instance, I have never been to London. And as you can see, as I have just said, never, it is something which is negative. Okay, negative adverb. It is a negative adverb. I have never been to London. Now here, if B, too, has never ever been to London, which means there is sameness, there is agreement, he can answer in a very simple way, in a short way, like, for example, he may say, neither have I. Neither have I. Now here, full stop. Now here, there is inversion of I, the subject, and have the auxiliary. So in this one, we have subject auxiliary, and here we have auxiliary subject. There is what we call the inversion. There is inversion. Why? Because here neither came at the beginning. Neither have I. Now this means what? When I say neither have I, which means in other words, which means that I, B, can also say I have never been to London. Here we can say I have never been to London either. All right, this is it. So please remember either, and here we have two. Now look, either is always with the negative sense. We can use it with negative sense, as you can see. I have never been to London either. Or we can say too. I have never been to London too. But why did I use either here? Because sometimes you might be given such sentence in the exam and they ask you to rewrite it with neither. Here. Okay, look. So this is very essential to remember. We have to rewrite this sentence with neither. This is a sentence with either, and we have to rewrite it with neither. But as you can see, in this sentence, we don't have inversion. But when we use neither in the beginning, we always inverse the subject and the auxiliary. Now, here, what can we say? Very simply, as I said before, we inverse the subjects and the auxiliary. We can say neither have I. Neither have I. Here, look, we are not going to use never. Never is a negative one with either. So either is always used in a negative sense, in negative meaning. But when we use neither, we change the sentence from negative to affirmative. If we have a negative adverb, we can substitute it with a positive adverb. Now, what is this positive adverb? It's very simply ever. So we can use ever here. We can say neither have I ever been to London. Okay, to London, full stop. So here, as you can see, we have inversion of have and I, and we used the positive adverb. Why? Because we have the neither. We start with neither. But as you can see, either is always with negative sense. Negative sense. This is very essential to remember. So I have given you this example because you might encounter in the exam such structure, which means they ask you to rewrite the sentence with neither. Okay, with neither. This is only one example. Also, as long as here we have it, for example, here with so, we talked about it after positive clause. Again, here we can have it after positive, no, negative, because here we are talking about negative clause. So we can take an example, for instance, like this. We can say he didn't call me. He didn't call me. Come on, he didn't call me. This is clause number one. And as you can see, this clause is what? Is negative. It is negative. Didn't. So he didn't call me. Then, just he didn't call me. If we want to add something else, we can say he didn't call me nor or neither. Both of them. Nor or neither. Now here, as you can see, he didn't call me. Here we are talking about the past. So the auxiliary verb is going to be in the past. Neither did he. Neither did he, for example, message me. Okay? Message me. Neither did he. Again, there is what? There is inversion. There is inversion here. Why? Because we have neither and nor. This is after what? After a negative clause. And as you can see, we have something to do with sameness. Here, he didn't call me. Not only this, he didn't message me too. He didn't message me too. So we have two, the same. Negative, okay? We can also say he did not message me either. We can write it here. This one, we can rewrite it differently. And we say he didn't message me. And as you can see, this is negative. In negative, we always use either. Okay, better. So he didn't message me either. Okay, full stop. Now, if I ask you to rewrite this sentence with neither, so we can say neither did he. Neither did he. And as you can see, here we have negative and becomes affirmative. But it's still negative sense. Why? Because we have neither. And neither nor, both of them for negative meaning. Okay? So neither did he message me. So this is in case I am doing this with you very simply because you might be asked to rewrite sentence or to choose the correct answer to the correct sentence with neither in the beginning. So inversion is always, we inverse the subject and the auxiliary when we have neither in the beginning but with negative sense. So these are only cases, very simple examples to understand inversion when it comes to these words, neither nor, negative meaning, so positive. These are the cases of so and the cases of neither and nor. One thing, very essential one that I'd like you to keep in mind is that either we use it at the end with negative form, and which means to, which means the same. When we rewrite it with neither in the beginning, as you can see, neither affirmative form. Affirmative form of the sentence, but negative meaning. Negative meaning. Neither have I ever been to London, which means I have never been to London either. Okay? The same thing here. He didn't message me either. Neither did he message me. Neither did he message me. This is affirmative, but still keeps the negative sense. Okay, so I hope you find this easy to understand. If you have any question related to this, you're welcome. Don't hesitate to ask. In the upcoming episodes, we are going to talk about other cases in which inversion is highly required. See you then. Have a good time. Thanks for watching and goodbye.